Hello traders, it's Wednesday evening, September 1st. It's time for the weekly swing trading video. Let's take a look at the market, see where we're at. We've got this sell-off, we have the bounce, and then we've got tiny little bodied candles forming light volume. We've seen this part of the pattern before. Once you make that new high right here, we break out, then we get into these tiny little candles and we just float higher for a week or so, and then whap, we get the drop. Same thing in here. Get the drop, make that new relative high, tiny little candles. We got little mixed action in here. There's another instance. Get the sell off in here, and then just these tiny little candles poke through that high, and then whap. I think we're setting up for whap. I don't know what's going to spark the selling. It could simply be profit taking. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. We've got seasonality coming into play. September is one of the weakest months of the year. You should keep in mind, from my market comments, that we have not had 8 consecutive months that have had higher closes in over 25 years. So September would be the 8th month, and it would keep that streak alive. I think that that favors a pullback in September. Don't know how big it'll be, but a pullback to this upward sloping trend line, a pullback to the 50-day moving average has typically attracted buyers. We also know that the Fed plans on staying on the sidelines for a long time. They have their foot to the gas pedal. COVID cases are rising, and we're also seeing softer numbers in China. They had their CAC and PMI come out today in contraction territory, 49.2. I've been warning you about China. I don't like what I see over there, but their market closed higher today on the notion that the PBOC is going to ease. So as the central banks continue to ease, interest rates are near zero. We've got inflation creeping in right now. So we have bond yields not keeping pace with inflation. That means that they generate negative real returns. What's the alternative? You've got to be in equities. You've got to be in the market. That's what's keeping this market afloat. We have not seen a PE ratio, a forward PE ratio this high since 1999, 2000. That was the tech bubble. So that tells you how stretched valuations are right now. That is also why we need to be super cautious with our swing trades, especially ones that span 3 or 4 weeks. We've been trapped in a number of these sharp pullbacks just before expiration this year. That's why I'm sidelined. I hope that we get a nice sustained pullback that lasts a week, not a day, but a week, so that we can start to prepare and start to enter some trades. The last pullback that we had a couple of weeks ago when I did this video, this was Thursday morning. By the close of the day, we knew that this was a market that you probably wanted to buy, and then here we go. We're off to the races. We didn't even get one day to really gather ourselves and enter positions. So short-term swing trading, short-term overnights are fine as long as you're not holding them more than a day or two. But for that 3 or 4 week timeline, I suggest being sidelined if you can't watch the market intraday. Today, we did see some profit taking later in the day, and this price action right in here, we had tested that prior high. You can see right there, this is the high from Monday. We tested it today, and then nice steady selling afterwards. You can see consecutive red candles. What does this tell me? Does this tell me this is it? Does this tell me that we're going to be selling off? No, too early to tell that. What it tells me is we also saw a series of red candles off the high right there. It tells me we can expect some two-sided price action for a while. So no more go-go rally, no more gap and go. We should start to see some profit taking in here. Yes, on dips, we will see buyers. On big rallies up to resistance, we should see some selling pressure. So during the course of the day, expect back and forth movement. Still a slight upward bias, but not like we've seen in the course of the last couple weeks. And then we also know that these tiny bodied candles may continue for a week or so, and then wham. We also have a holiday coming up. Typically, price action is very quiet ahead of the holiday, typically has a slight upward bias to it. So tread very, very cautiously in here with your swing trades. Now I'm going to shift gears. We're going to take a look at some stocks that I like, and I'm going to go right to one that I think you might be interested in, MRNA. Like this double bottom right here, finding support way above the 50-day moving average. And you can see that it has had a lot of buying. So we get this pullback right here. We have a nice bullish flag pattern forming. I've got an alert line right here. If we can get through the open from August 27th and get through that $400 price level, which I think we might have a chance to do that tomorrow or perhaps Friday, I think this sets up well for a day trade. I think it sets up well for a very short-term overnight swing. That means that you can buy call debit spreads, you can buy deep in the money calls that have 3 or 4 weeks left of time. You're going to pay a lot of money for these, but you want a very high delta and you don't want to pay a lot of option implied volatility, so you do have to go deep. I would use this upward sloping trend line as my stop. Let's draw it. That is your stop. And as the stock starts to move higher, once it gets through this resistance level, it has a chance to really go. So I would watch it closely at this resistance level. Let's drop an alert line there. I'm going to double click on the high right there. And that is another resistance level that you want to watch. If the stock is able to get through that easily, it could go up and challenge the all-time high. Keep an eye on MRNA, which incidentally, every day I post a video on my YouTube channel. I urge you to watch those daily videos. I've been hitting some really, really hot stocks. Amazon was one that I highlighted yesterday. Man, was that a beauty. Amazon took off. I love the fact that it was able to get through this horizontal resistance right here, was able to close above the 100-day moving average. This is where I highlighted it yesterday during the middle of the day. It closed above the 50-day moving average and then surged higher today. Now, you did have to take profits, but you should be in profit-taking mode, especially when you have big gains like that. And then once the stock hit that resistance level, then we saw some steady selling pressure. Stocks are very lofty right now. They are rich. There are no real bargains to be had. You can also see how here we were starting to fill in some of this gap. So I still like Amazon. I want to see it hold that 50-day moving average compared to Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Google. Amazon still has plenty of room to run. But those 5 stocks, those mega cap tech stocks, they have been leading the charge. That's another one of the issues that I have right now, is that those 5 stocks comprise about 25% of the S&P 500. This rally has been very narrowly defined. We would prefer to see all 500 stocks rallying, but the move higher has been very, very concentrated in those tech giants. So that also has me very, very cautious right now. So let's go through and let's take a look at the heavy buying list today. And I'm just going to click through these because I want to show you something that's also taking place. And I'll show you some charts that I like as I click through. You can see Roku, bottom fisher. Okay, it just barely got through the 200-day moving average. What I want to show you is that in the latter stages of a market rally, the laggards catch a bid. We call that the dogs are barking. And as I go through this list of leaders, Netflix actually looks very good through this horizontal resistance, long green candles closing on their high. I like Netflix. I think Netflix is a type of stock that you could sell an out of the money bullish put spread on. If I weren't so cautious with the overall market, Netflix is the type of stock that I'd be looking to sell an out of the money bullish put spread on. Baidu, look at that bottom fisher. Are Chinese stocks going to finally catch a bid? Well, this is nice that it was able to get off the low. That was support. Now it's resistance. Now it's support again. Was able to find support there, was able to compress. Yeah, that looks like they could get going, but all the Chinese government has to do is to come out and talk about more regulation for tech companies, and you'll see this thing drop 15 or 20 points, just like we had to weather this nasty move lower right in here. So I would be very cautious with Chinese stocks. There's another one, as I mentioned, bottom fishers, NET, very choppy, compressing up here near the high end of the range, wants to break out, but it's tried to break out a number of times. It's one to watch, but it looks like it may struggle to get through. Amazon, we already took a look at. Bottom fisher, bottom fisher. This is nice. I do actually like CRM. In my daily video on YouTube, this was my pick of the day. You've got this nice earnings gap up to a new all-time high. You have your downward sloping trend line. Stock was able to get up above that downward sloping trend line and close above it, but I'm not crazy about this long tail right here. I would have liked to have seen the stock close in the upper 3/4 of the range today, leaving just a tiny little candle on top, but it reversed hard today. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. There you can see. Yeah, everything looks great. Here we go, go, go. Nice, 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 nice. Nope. So CRM, I like the daily chart, but I think you got to be careful with this one. DKS, that train is way out of the station. And now I'm just going to show you some bottom fisher, bottom fisher. That's a nice breakout right there. That is IYR. That is an ETF, property ETF, real estate ETF. So that one's catching a little bit of a bid, but you can see it doesn't move much. But this is one that you could keep an eye on. BX, actually very nice. Downward sloping trend line. I believe I highlighted this in one of my videos a week ago. I did like this downward sloping trend line here, breach to the upside, new all-time high here. BX is a nice grinder. That looks good. It's bottom fisher, bottom fisher, bottom fisher, bottom fisher, bottom fisher, bottom fisher. You get the point. The vast majority of the stocks that have been rallying are laggards. That signals that this rally is getting very, very tired. It's having to draw its strength from beaten down stocks, and that usually leads to a market decline. So I wanted to show you that. We'll go through a search, and I'm going to put up custom search, and we'll take a look at a stock search that you can run very easily. You can click trade signal on a daily basis. You can click strong versus SPY on a daily basis. You can click heavy volume today. You can click option liquidity greater than 2, and you can add all sorts of other variables. If this list is too long, like it is right now, then let's add some other variables. Let's put heavy stock volume yesterday. Let's see if that helps. Oh yeah, that starts to get this list down considerably. Stock greater than prior day high. Okay, there we've got a pretty manageable list that we can knock through right now. So I'm going to put this off to the side. Let's click through it, see what we've got. ASO, nice chart, downward sloping trend line, multiple support here, around that 100-day moving average, stock through the high, decent volume coming in. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Not a big mover though. So I'm just going to click through until I see something that I like. I'd prefer to trade strength and not a laggard that's bouncing. CMCSA, Comcast, this is a nice little breakout, not much of a moving stock, but decent little breakout for that stock. Just going to continue to click through the list. GSM, that's been actually really nice breakout in here. Long candles stacked. That would have been a good entry point on massive volume in there. Stock continues to go. I'm looking for something that you'd be able to take advantage of right away. See if I can find another pick for you. NTAP, not bad. You can see how it had this horizontal breakout, gap higher, was not able to hold most of the gains, but now that it's had a few days to rest after that earnings announcement, the stock is starting to grind higher. I like this one as well. NTAP. Your stop would be right there. You don't want it to come below that because then it starts to fill in the gap, and the gap from that prior high right here is right in that area. So You really don't want it to get much below that. I like NTAP. I think that's one that you could look at selling an out of the money bullish put spread on. PLAN, big gap up, but look at this reversal today. So not good. It's the stock closed on its low of the day. So out of all of these that I see, NTAP seems to be one that I like a lot. MRNA is a stock to watch. I think you really want to watch these price levels in here. This stock has been able to spend some time. It got overheated, it ran up, and it pulled back. And that's how bullish flags are formed. And now you've got profit takers would be able to normally drive this stock all the way down if it were all fluff. But it's gotten to a point now to where there are buyers who are very interested at this level, and you've got two lines of support. You got this downward sloping trend line that's been challenged on the upside. This stock gets through 400. This is one that you want to pick for a short-term day trade or a very brief overnight trade. Again, if it gets through that, you want to buy it. If it gets through that resistance point, you want to add to the position. Try and sell it up here on the notion that it's going to continue to move higher, but don't give it more than a few days to do that. You buy it here, it gets to here, and then it stalls out. Take gains. Take some of the money off the table. Instead of adding, you're taking profits because it's shown you that it just doesn't have the strength to get through, and it might have to spend some more time waffling around. COVID cases are rising. MRNA, I was just reading, they are able to produce twice the number of antibodies in their vaccines. I believe it's going to be the preferred choice for people that are looking for that booster shot. So I think that news gives MRNA a bit of a tailwind right now. That's all I've got for you. I hope that we get a market pullback in here somewhere because then I will be adding some trades on my Wednesday night videos, or I'll send an email before the market open if I see something that I really like. Thanks. Good luck with your trading. Thank you for watching this YouTube video. I'm Pete Stolzers, and I'm going to keep the trade ideas coming along with lots of education, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and please turn on your notifications so that you never miss another trade. If you like the content, please give it a thumbs up. I've loaded 2 other videos that I think you're really going to enjoy. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.